Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. So welcome everybody. This is our Sunday Feast program. Yeah, it's really nice to see you all here. It's a long weekend, and I know there are a lot of new families here. So you had a lot of choice to go to, and you chose this place to come. So we are very grateful to you for that. Our program today is starting right now. We're going to have His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj give a talk on Krishna consciousness. And after that, we're going to have at 6 o'clock, there'll be dinner prasadam downstairs. So Maharaj actually has been here. We established the temple back in 1985. And
82.
82? 82. And so since then, he was here. He established this whole community. He established this temple. He's like, literally, he has his hands in the building of this temple. And so he's a very, very renowned Maharaj. He is a very expert in speaking about topics on Krishna consciousness. We are going to hear about the holy name today. So I would like to request all of your rapt attention as we hear the words from Maharaj's mouth. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much, Vikashananda Krishna. It's good to see everybody. A lot of our people today are in Dallas. There's a festival going on. So that's why we're not so full today, but I'm sure Prasadam time will be full. By the time we end class and say all glories to Prabhupada, then there'll be a lot of people here. No doubts. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Yidibadurade Gopi Janavalabha Yidibadurade Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tera Manachagade Yamuna Tera Manachagade Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Hiribadurade Gopi Janavalabha Giri Baladhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachade Yamuna Tira Banachade Jayaradu Madhava Kunja Bihati Jayaradu Madhava Kunja Bihati Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace by Chalanala Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasiti Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuranam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimangalasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Bhakti Pacharni Nivasesha Shunyavadi Paschata Jatarni Omagana Tivananda Shah Galanjana Shlakya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigave Namaha. So, this afternoon we're going to speak about the holy name. And one of the reasons I decided to give the class on the holy name today is certain things have been happening in the course of my service that sort of stimulated me to give this class. One of the things that happened is that recently I was in this country called Fiji. Some of you may have heard of Fiji before. And one of the devotees there, I mean, the people that I'm dealing with mostly are from India. You understand that? Everybody knows where India is? No. Anyway, so forget it. They tend to be superstitious. So they tend to think a lot about things called what? The evil eye. And how to ward off the evil eye. And there's a lot of, because it's a tropical country, there's a lot of voodoo going on there. You know, of course they don't call it voodoo. They just call it witchcraft. And so, anyway, it's an interesting country because most of the witchcraft people, they're Muslims there. And when the devotees think, when the people from India think that there's someone doing an evil eye on them, they go to the Muslim witchcraft people. I was thinking, oh my God, I should tell Narendra Modi about this one. So one of the people I know very well was accusing someone else that I know very well about doing the evil eye because they discovered some flowers in their garden or something like that, whatever. And so they went to the witch doctor and they tried to get rid of the evil eye. And I was upset. Now, why should I be upset? If someone's trying to get rid of the evil eye, I should be happy about it, right? Evil eye? Do I want someone to have the evil eye? I mean, there's a lot of superstition. I mean, some people think that if you just look at someone with one eye, you're giving them the evil eye. So I'm doing that with all of you right now. You all got the evil eye. So, there's a lot of superstition. Another thing is that if you yawn, you have to snap your fingers or else God knows what's going to happen. So, why was I upset? I was upset because we have something that's more powerful than all the evil eyes in the world. And that's called the holy name. And that's what inspired me to read this one book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur again. I've read it many, many times before. And just to reinforce my own Kshatriya nature. Because I got angry. Actually, I got so angry that people thought this is worse than the evil eye. Because I was yelling at them for not having faith in Krishna's name. But spiritual practices are much more powerful than any sort of material, curses or whatever it is. I mean, just like you see, you have your friend Ravan, who was very powerful because he had worshipped Lord Brahma and done so many austerities, but Ram was much more powerful. And Ram has given us the benediction that Ram Nam is more powerful than Ram, right? Everybody knows that from the Ramayana. So Ram Nam is more powerful than Ram. It's certainly more powerful than evil eye, because if you're saying the evil eye will not is more power. If you're saying the evil eye is more powerful than the holy name, you're actually saying the evil eye is more powerful than Ram. Do you understand? Which to me is a great offense. Because if you offend Ram or Sita, I get angry. Now, it's generally one thinks that great personalities, I'm not claiming to be a great personality, but sadhus are not supposed to get angry, right? I think a sadhu is supposed to always say, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. If someone starts to kill him, attack him with a knife, Shanti, 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 Shanti. If someone attacks his wife, Shanti, 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 Shanti. Someone steals his wallet, Shanti is Krishna's mercy. Not really. That's a misunderstanding of what a sadhu is. Actually, Prabhupada sometimes would translate the word sadhu as someone who cuts. But what does he cut? He cuts illusion, and especially he cuts through the dense fog of offenses that people are committing in this world. So if someone commits even a material offense, such as attacking your wife or daughter or son, it's appropriate to get angry. So there's appropriate times to get angry. Of course, a sadhu does not get angry on his own behalf. Like if you go up to a sadhu and you insult him, he'll just say, Shanti, because it doesn't bother him. Just like that story of Brigamuni, when he was trying to, because the sadhu is in the mode of goodness, Brigamuni was trying to figure out which one of the three presiding gods in the universe, Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva, are in the mode of goodness. Which one? So he had an interesting test. He went to Lord Brahma first and didn't offer respect. Now, generally, for those of us in America, offering respect is not really something you do, right? In America. It's the American culture. When you go to your father, you don't say Pita Shri or anything like that, or touch his feet. You just say, hey, you call him by his first name. Hey, Joe, can I have the car keys? Isn't it? I mean, that's American culture. But Indian culture, when you see your father, it's just like, oh, maybe you don't use the word Pita Shri, but the intention is there. And you see your mother too, she's respectable. In fact, Krishna talks about that in the Bhagavad Gita, that austerities of the body, part of the austerities of the body are respecting worshipable personalities like mother and father. And so that's culture. That's good culture. So Brigamuni, getting back to the story, he goes to see Lord Brahma because he wants to test who's in the mode of goodness. And he insults Lord Brahma by not offering him respect. That's considered as insult, isn't it? Quite interesting, isn't it? So he insults him in that way, and Lord Brahma gets angry, but he keeps his anger down, and Brigamuni detects it, and he thinks, all right, he definitely has some influence of passion. And then he goes to Lord Shiva, and basically Lord Shiva says, you're my brother, I should embrace you. And he says, no way, you're just hanging out in the crematorium, you're dirty and everything like that. And Lord Shiva gets very angry and gets ready to immolate Brigamuni. And fortunately, Parvati stops him from doing that. So, all right, then he goes to Lord Vishnu. What does he do? He kicks Lord Vishnu in the chest. And Lord Vishnu says, please accept my apologies for having a hard chest. So, the point of the story is not that we should go around kicking people in the chest to see if they're in the mode of goodness. Is he a sadhu? Kick. Because at the same time, you'll be committing an offense. And we know Brigamuni did commit an offense by doing that. And because of that, he later on became cursed to become a hunter. There's a whole story about that on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Brahmanas generally got cursed to be poverty-stricken because of Brigamuni's activities. But still, the point is, one in the mode of goodness does not get angry on his own behalf. That's the point I'm making. But when there's some criticism of another person, especially, someone who's dear to them, like Krishna or devotees, like that, then it's appropriate to get angry. We're not interested in ultimate or absolute nonviolence. If someone attacks you, it's appropriate to use some force to protect yourself or protect someone else. So anyway, this is appropriate for a sadhu. So if someone offends the holy name or offends Ram, literally, that's what it means. To offend the holy name means to offend Ram and Krishna. To minimize, that's an offense. To say, oh, the holy name is okay, we chant it, it's part of our ritual, helps us dance sometimes. It's better than going to the gym and doing aerobic exercise. And so, not really. So we may think like that, but actually the holy name is non-different from Krishna and Ram. And so we have to have this trust and faith, and anybody who questions that, it's appropriate to get angry. So, of course I'm not angry now, don't worry. Because of this impetus and that exchange I had with the person, and the person later on understood, accepted, at least to please me, they accepted. I don't know if they actually accepted. And they invited me to their house, and I blessed them to have the evil eye gone. I said, oh, your blessings are powerful. I said, what about the holy name? That's more powerful than my blessings. So, anyway, this is one interesting thing that happened in my life amongst many other interesting things. So now we're going to start talking about the holy name with a brief introduction. And this book is very inspiring. It's called the Harinam Chintamani. Chintamani means like a desire stone or a spiritual gem, and Harinam means the holy chanting the name of Hari. Hari is a name that indicates Krishna and Ram and all the various appearances of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hari. Also, Hari means to steal. Because he's stealing away from us all the inauspicious things, like the evil eyes or the curses. And so this book was written by someone named Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a great, what we call a Nitya Siddha devotee. I mean, someone who came from the spiritual world to carry out a specific mission. And he is the spiritual master of Gorgashodas, Babaji Maharaj, who is the spiritual master of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, as an introduction to this book, he quoted this verse from the Padma Purana. It's Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shila Nitya Nibukto Vinatwam Namanamino, which basically means, I'll just give you a rough translation. The spiritual name of Krishna bestows all benedictions. It is full of life and rasa and taste, and it has a form. It is complete. It is original. It is pure. It is eternally liberated. And Vinatwam Namanamino means it is non-different from that which it is naming. That's an interesting statement. Let me just translate that or explain what I mean by that. Non-different from what it's naming is the name of Krishna, and we'll get into this further on, or in the name of Ram, or the name of any incarnation, avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the same as the avatar that it refers to. For example, if you have Hanuman chanting Ram Nam, right? Ram Nam, then he's with Ram. It's the same. There's no difference. Although we may not see, but in the sound vibration, within the sound vibration, that transcendental personality of Godhead is present. So depending upon which avatar or appearance of the Lord you're worshiping, that avatar will appear before you. Maybe not, you won't be able to see them. Possibly you can if you're very pure. But they'll be appearing before you in sounds and manifest their presence. Just like last week we celebrated the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev. And so we were chanting Nrsinga Kavacha and different names of Lord. We had 108 names of Lord Nrsingadev that were being chanted. And so Lord Nrsingadev was present when those names were being chanted. Lord Nrsingadev is present in his thought when you're actually remembering him. Lord Nrsingadev is present in his pastimes, his activities. This is the non-different nature of the absolute truth, that he's absolutely the same. That's pretty amazing. So we can invoke the presence of Krishna or Ram right now. All we have to do is say, Ram, Krishna. But that name has to be given to us in disciplic succession. It's not simply a movement of the tongues, the tongue, there's one tongue, and lips. It's not simply a movement of the tongue and lips. It's given in disciplic succession. The mantra comes down, Sampradaya Vinaya mantras te nishpalamataha, and that is effective. So, of course, this is one of the primary teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us Namaruchi, having a taste for the holy name, Jivadoya, and Vaishnava Seva. These are the three important lessons given by Lord Chaitanya, who appeared a little over 500 years ago. Namaruchi means having a taste for the name. So this particular book depicts a conversation to bring out the philosophy of the holy name. It depicts a conversation between Lord Chaitanya and a great devotee named Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was appointed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the Nama Acharya, the main Acharya of the holy name. Now, You may not know too much about Haridas Thakur, but he was born in a non-Hindu family, in a Muslim family. Now, generally in India, you have this caste distinction, right? There's a lot of racism and casteism. And of course, I have no trouble with that when I go to India because they understand I'm from the West and I must have money. So that sort of transcends. Therefore, we can get in all the temples that people in India would not be allowed to go into because they're of a lower caste, that I'm allowed to go into because, you know, money talks, everybody else walks. What can we say? So, no, also they respect that I'm wearing a dhoti or whatever, dressed up like a sannyasi. So there's this caste distinction there. And even I was at Govardhan, or I spent a lot of time at Govardhan, and there's these people from Hindu families, the jati, you know, the lower caste, they're not allowed in the temples there just because of their caste. And they're Hindus, and they believe in Krishna, and they're Brajavasis. I mean, what a disaster that is. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the things he came to teach was the eradication of this caste distinction. He actually, there's an interesting verse, Yare Dekatarika Krishna Vadesh, that Kiva Vipra Kiva Jasi, Shudra Kedana Ye Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoy, in which he stated that it doesn't matter what sort of birth one has. Kiva Vipra Kiva Nyashi, or one's a sannyasi, learned person, Shudra, whatever. If a person knows the science of Krishna, that person can be accepted as a spiritual guide. Just like in the Ramayana, you have someone from a pig-eating caste. Even the name indicates that. Shabari. You've heard of Shabari before? Everybody who knows the Ramayana. And it's described in the Ramayana that she was actually, after her spiritual master, Matanga Muni, left this world, she was actually one of his chief disciples, even though she was coming from a very, very low caste. And against the objections of all of his other disciples, all these other male Brahmins, so what are you going to do? Why did you let this person into the ashram? And it's interesting, I just found out that even after he left the planet, she was asked to leave the ashram. And of course that was good because she was able to wait on the sides of the Pampa Lake for Lord Ramchandra to come. She was given that instruction by the Lord, by her spiritual master. So she was waiting there, and with such devotion, I mean, every day, I was thinking about this, every day she was just laying out all these flowers on the path, picking the best fruits, and of course tasting them too, to make sure they were tasty. It's not generally how you do an offering, but still, I mean, but here is someone from the lowest caste, a pig, you know, they kept pigs. That was the caste she came from. Amazing, isn't it? And then Lord Ramchandra was accepting food right from her hand. You know, he considered her like mother. So you see, the Lord Ramchandra was also into this getting rid of the caste distinction there. And also, of course, what to speak of him, Lord Ramchandra's best servant was Hanuman. I mean, I don't even know what caste, well, I know what caste he's from, it's Kim Purusha. But it's definitely not human being, it's definitely not Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, or American caste. Or Jati, you know, anything like that. It's definitely not any of those, but yet, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramchandra accepted Hanuman, he accepted Shabari. I mean, amazing, simply amazing. Yet he killed Ravan, who was a high caste. right? Of course, Ravan had a demon mother and a high caste father. So, but in any case, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to teach the most important teaching, basically, in Kali Yuga for the general mass of people, which is the chanting of the Lord's holy names. He decided to teach it through the mouth of someone who was an outcast, born in a Muslim family. And Haridas Thakur was even tortured for believing in Krishna. He was subjected to whippings in 22 marketplaces just because he was chanting Krishna's names. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appointed him as the Namacharya. So in this particular conversation in this book, Lord Chaitanya is basically asking Haridas Thakur questions, and Haridas Thakur is replying. So this is an instance of rhetorical questions. Rhetorical means that the professor is asking the student questions to see if the student knows his subject matter. So one of the questions he asks is, how can people be delivered in this age of Kali? There's a picture of Lord Chaitanya and Jagannath Puri during the Rath Yatra festival and chanting the holy names. Because in the Kali Yuga, Kaler Doshanadheyat Raja Nashya Ego Mahadguna Kirtana Deva Krishna Sha Mukta Sangha Param Vajet. It's an ocean of difficulty. Satya Yuga is nice because you have the principles of religiosity present. You know, there's people that clean, cleanliness, mercifulness, truthfulness, and austerity. And in Kali Yuga, the only principle that was there, I can't even say it's still here, is the principle of truthfulness. And if anyone reads the news nowadays, you sort of doubt if anyone's truthful as far as the leadership, at least in America. You know, I like the leadership in India. But at least in America, oh my God. And in most other countries, you know, people are just being manipulated. So practically in Kali Yuga, there's no cleanliness, mercifulness, austerity, and truthfulness. It's hard to find. And that's Kali Yuga. It's an ocean of difficulty. So, anyway, we talked before. So the only solution to get out of this ocean of difficulty is the chanting of Krishna's names. Kaler Doshanahe Rajonya Sheko Mahadgunat Kirtanadeva Krishna Sha Mukta Sangha Param Vajet. In this age of Kali, which is an ocean of difficulty, the only way to get liberated, the only way to become spiritually conscious is by chanting the name of Krishna or Ram, any of the names. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us, Nam Namakari Bahoda Nijasarva Shaktis Tatrapita Nimata Smaranena Kala Etadrasi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Jani Nanuragaha. That all of Krishna's names are invested with Krishna's potency or potencies. And as I mentioned before, it's not just a name of a particular object. So there's different labels and objects, but they're simply empty designations. But the name of Krishna and Krishna are exactly the same. And that's why in the Krishna conscious movement, we have so much emphasis on going out and distributing the holy names to everybody. And this is, of course, what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. And again, the picture of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri at the Rath Yatra festival. So, it's very important, apart from understanding the potency of the holy name, to understand a little bit of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness so one can understand how the holy name connects us to Krishna. And one of the aspects of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness that are very important to understand is the three energies of Krishna. This is described in the Vishnu Purana, Vishnu Shakti Para Prakya, Kshetrakya Kitata Para, Avidya Karma Sanganya, Tritira Shakti Ishate, that Krishna, Ram, God, whatever name you want to use that's bona fide, has three basic energies. So, of course, the holy name is non-different from Krishna. So by chanting the holy name, one becomes connected to the para prakriti, the spiritual energy. So, Vishnu Shakti para prakriti. Kshetra Gyakya Tatapara. Another energy of Krishna is us. It's called Kshetragya. Kshetragya means the marginal energy. Or actually the word Kshetragya means the knower of the field, or the inhabitor of the body. So our body is our field of activities, our field of knowledge. So we're on the margin, because the actual technical word for margin is tatashta. We are on the margin between the spiritual energy and the material energy. So that's the third energy, is avidya karma sangyanya, which means ignorant activities energy. That's Kali Yuga, and that's this material world. So we're on this margin, so we can go in either direction. That's why it's important to understand the three energies. So when we connect with the spiritual energy through the chanting of the holy name, then we become spiritualized. And what happens when we become spiritualized? We actually realize our spiritual nature. And when we connect with the material energy, then we become not exactly materialized, that's a different word, but more covered. So we become disconnected from our real nature. I'll give you a practical example. Let's say someone likes to drink, not water, alcohol, homebrew. Like I understand in India, there's a lot of homebrew, right? They have that's what they have bathtubs for, or whatever. So if you like to drink, let's say you're sober. Let's take this for example. You're sober, and you come home, you recognize your family, whatever. Very nice, you go to work. So and materially, that's your real nature, just using this as a metaphor. And the more drunk you get, does anyone experience this? Don't raise your hand. No, don't. Someone's raising their hand back there. We don't want that. So the more drunk someone gets, the more they get disconnected from even their material nature. So it's the same thing. So in the material world, there's the three modes of nature, in addition to these three energies. Three energies means the spiritual, marginal, and material. But in the material, there's the three modes of nature. And the further you get into the mode of ignorance, then the more you forget your real nature. And the more you get into the mode of goodness, the more you remember your real nature. That's why, for example, we have these regulated principles we prescribe in Krishna consciousness, like no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, no illicit sex, because these activities, in addition to having a heavy karmic burden, put one's consciousness in very low modes, so one forgets who they are. And you even see, like gambling, we're not even talking about spiritual nature. When people gamble, they forget about all their responsibilities. I mean, look what happened to Yudhisthira Maharaj, right? He forgot about his responsibilities to his brother and his wife. Can any of you imagine how your wives would feel if you gambled them away? You'd be in trouble. What to speak of what your mother-in-law would say. Isn't it? Can you imagine? How much illusion would one have to be in to gamble their wife? Some of you were thinking, that's a good idea. I can see some people say, well, freedom. No, that's illusion. Can you imagine? Yet the gambling covered up even Yudhisthira Maharaj. Or the intoxication when the Yadu dynasty, at the end, it came time for them to leave the planet. they were getting intoxicated, and it covered them all up, so they were attacking even Krishna and Balaram, and attacking each other and killing each other. It's amazing, isn't it? So these are the modes of nature. So the more we connect with Krishna, with the spiritual energy, Vishnu Shakti Paraprakriti, the more we become freed from the mode, and the more we realize our spiritual personality, who we are in the spiritual world, which is different than who you think you are here. You have a spiritual form, a spiritual body, a spiritual identity, a spiritual relationship. And then the more you chant, the more you actually come in contact with that. As long as you don't keep throwing dirt on yourself at the same time. Just like when you take a shower or bath, then you're not going to go out and play. I remember when I was young, I would play in the dirt a lot and come back, and Mother would give me a shower or bath, whatever. And she said, right, now you can't go out anymore. I said, why? Because you'll get dirty again. So, anyway, so we have to keep in touch. But the process of keeping in touch with the holy name is a gradual process, and first we have to do something called sadhana, or practice. Now one may say, why should we practice? We just want to become spontaneous. Well, you're not spontaneous, so you still have a tendency to be covered up by the lower modes of nature. I was listening to a class the other day who probably gave a very good example of why there has to be, why practice is good. And he gave the example of the old Indian process of arranging marriages. Previously, he said, marriages were arranged or even performed when the couple was very, very young. They were, the girl could have been like 7 or 8 years of age. I mean, nowadays you can't even talk about stuff like this. And the boy would be like 10. And they wouldn't live with each other. It wasn't like something bad or anything like that. But the girl would practice doing things for the boy, and things would be sent to the boy's house. It's interesting, isn't it? I thought it was quite interesting, Prabhupada using this example of what called sadhana. Sadhana means practice. And so after about 10 years or 15 years, however long it took, of sending things, seeing a picture of the boy and practicing sending him glubjamans or something. What would they send? I don't know. Knitting or sewing or whatever. I don't even know. And then by the time they got married, they were together, they were perfect. They understood they were on the Raganuga platform. On the spontaneous platform. So Prabhupada gave that example. It's not that I'm advocating those sorts of marriages nowadays, but the example is that by practice, then you actually come to the perfectional stage. But the interesting thing about Krishna consciousness, so you're thinking, I'm practicing, I got to do all these things, oh my God, can't wait till I give those things up, is chanting just the practice. No, it's not. Chanting is also the sajja. Sajja is the goal. There's 2 words, sadhana and sajja. So sadhana means the practice, sajja is the goal. So what happens when you become completely immersed or Krishna conscious or spiritually conscious or whatever you may call it? You keep chanting, but you're doing it with ecstasy. You're not thinking, this is an austerity. In the beginning, everything is an austerity, materially. But after a while, just like, here's the example of learning to play the piano. If anyone is ever had a child who is studying the piano, you know what it's like. It'll drive you crazy. Because the poor, unless you get one of these modern pianos where he puts his earphones in and it's just electronic, then it's kind of nice. But they're playing scales over and over and over and over again. Like when you see these concert pianists, it's not that they just picked up the piano one day and started playing like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No, it's not like that. They had to practice for years. Or you see someone in the Olympics, right? Who's running the, 100-meter or whatever they run. And they had to practice for a long period of time. Then they become spontaneous and free-flowing and everything like that. So the nice thing about the holy name is the practice gets nicer and nicer and nicer, and it actually is the goal, and you want to continue doing it more and more and more. That's the benefit of chanting. So in order to understand and get instruction in chanting, we have to understand who is a proper guide or who is a Vaishnava. Because you want to take guidance in the holy name from an advanced, pure Vaishnava. So there's different grades of Vaishnavas. So of course the best type of Vaishnava is one who actually gets someone to chant just by seeing him. That happened when I met Prabhupada, whose picture you see up there. Actually, when I first heard Prabhupada, I started chanting. When I first saw Prabhupada, I couldn't keep myself from chanting. That's an advanced Vaishnava. Someone you see and just go, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and you don't even think about it. Like if you were to see Hanuman, you'd go, Ram, 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 immediately, right? You wouldn't go, Ravan, Ravan, Ravan. You go, Ram, Ram. I mean, because you'd greet Hanuman, just, Ram, Ram, Ram. What else would you say? Hi. Yeah, what's your name? Like that. So the best is that you get other people to chant in their presence. There's other types of Vaishnavas. Even one who chants the holy name once is considered a Vaishnava, and we respect them in our mind. And someone who chants constantly, we make friendship with them. And someone who makes us chant just by seeing him or her, that person is first class Vaishnava. So, another thing about the holy name we should understand is that even if one has some material desire, the holy name actually can help one fulfill that material desire. Not that we're encouraging that, but we have that example of Dhruva Maharaj, who had the desire for a greater kingdom than that of Lord Brahma. And he got it, and when he got it, he didn't want it anymore. So this particular slide, it talks about how there's different grades of desires that people have. And they're called the Purusharthas. Purushartha means the goals of human life. The Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Dharma means, some mundane religious practice, but for the purpose of getting Artha, means money. So many people, they attend programs like Satyanarayan Katha, right? Om Jaya Jagadisha Hari, Swam Jaya Jagadisha Hari. Please give some money to me. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hari. But we're not saying this shouldn't be done, because it says in the Bhagavatama, Kama Sarva Kama Moksha Kama Dharade Tavrena Bhakti Yogeni Yajeta Purusham Param. So one should approach Krishna. If your desires are so intense and you want something material, then better you approach Krishna than the demigods. Because the idea is when you approach Krishna, your desire can be fulfilled, and it will be fulfilled in such a way that you'll be satisfied. because you won't be satisfied as long as that desire is burning in your heart. So even when you get the object of that desire, you're going to want something more. As Krishna says in the Gita, avritam gyanametena gyanino nichavairana kamarupena kontiya dushprena lena cha. That the thing is, when you get your object of the desire, it's like throwing petrol on a fire. In other words, the fire gets further inflamed. It doesn't put out the fire. It appears to put out the fire in the beginning, but then whoosh, it goes up. So you're not satisfied. I want more. You know, let's say you get a nice car, for example, like a Tesla. And then you're thinking, oh, now I want the Cybertruck. And then you're thinking, why shouldn't I have a Mercedes? Maserati, or what else? Bugatti, you know. So anyway, so it's something like that. So we'll never be satisfied with those. But when you worship Krishna for the fulfillment of your desire, then it dissipates the desire to have that thing even after you get it, which is really nice. And you get it, and you're thinking, now I'm satisfied. So the only way to be satisfied with getting something even materially is to worship Krishna, because Krishna pacifies your heart. Bhukti mukti siddhi kam sakalaya shanta. Krishna bhakta nishkamate vashanta. Because as long as we have these desires, we're going to be ashanta. Or as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if one wants to be happy, one has to be peaceful. And in 5:29 in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarva lokamaheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam gyadvamam shantim rishati. That if one wants to be peaceful, one just has to understand that Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the proprietor. And this happens gradually. That's the process of Krishna consciousness. It's not that one should feel guilty that he or she has these desires, but gradually you come to the point of, like Dhruva Maharaj saying, I was looking for some broken pieces of glass when he saw Krishna, when he saw Vishnu. And now I have found a beautiful gem, the most perfect gem. So Krishna consciousness, of course, is beyond these 4 Purusharthas. It's called the Panchama Purushartha, which is ultimately the goal, the 5th goal, which is Krishna Prema, a love of Krishna. But gradually. And when one loves Krishna, one comes to the point of understanding one's nature in the spiritual world. That is, whether one's a coward boy, whether one's a gopi, whether one's a servant of Krishna, whether one's a friend of Krishna, or just a passive adorer of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, actually, we have much more of this, and I think I'll continue next week, because we're only on slide 20 of 57. And so I want to see if there's any questions about anything I've said so far about the holy name. Yes, Nanda Gopal.
So near the end you said that the goal is Krishna Prem, but it's a gradual process. So in the neophyte stage, when I came to Krishna consciousness, chanting was so attractive, I had enthusiasm. As I want to have that still, but my question is that how to develop that patience to have that gradual, because even if you give me right now, if I am not pure enough to accept that love, I'll not be able to sustain
you won't
it.
be happy. If we send you back to Godhead, and everything is centered around Krishna, you'll be thinking, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
What about Nanda Gopal? No, not that Nanda Gopal. This Nanda Gopal. Well, the point is to be practical, to have faith in the goal. So to have faith in the goal of Krishna consciousness and enjoy life in the meantime. I mean, it's interesting. I was thinking about the Lord Nrsingadev story, how Lord Nrsingadev said to Prahlad Maharaj, who was a pure devotee, he says, I want you to become basically king and enjoy the kingdom. Now, was that a curse or something like that? No. We have to understand and be honest and not guilty about our own particular situation, and understand this is the goal, but not be fanatic about it, and proceed gradually. And understand we can be happy in the meantime in this world by serving Krishna. It's simple like that. I mean, I remember when I first came to Krishna consciousness, and anyway, this is not to criticize anyone who eats a lot, that I really, one of the things that was most important to me, apart from the philosophy and chanting, was the prasadam, and especially things like gulab-jamans and sweet rice and halava and jalebis and malpura and what else? Anyway, all those things. So, the satisfaction of the tongue, in other words, is very important. And then, as not to criticize anybody. And then I would look at see some devotees who are more advanced than me, as hard as that is to believe. So, I'm just speaking, find it funny. And I'd see how they were able to control their tongues and eat less and eat it more. I mean, I would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and go to the prasadam refrigerator and steal, it was prasadam, wasn't boga, and steal the sweets in the middle of the night, just get a bowl of sweet rice and drink it out in the middle of the night. And I got caught sometimes too. So I used to think, looking at more advanced devotees, that someone is able to control their tongue more. I said, I hope I don't get that advanced. If that's what advancement means, it's scary. So sometimes it looks like that when you look at a very advanced devotee and think, do I want to be like it? But you don't understand what's going on internally. The happiness that's there. Just like you have the story of Madhavendra Puri we were talking about the other day, who basically never asked anyone for food until Krishna came and gave him some sweet rice. Krishna never came and gave me sweet rice. If he did, even now I would take it. So, but you could say, isn't that a miserable life? And you hear, sometimes you see these movies about the sages like sitting there for so many years and just chanting Om or Hare Krishna or whatever. Say, oh my God, do I want that for the future? But you don't know what's happening inside. You don't know what happiness they're experiencing. So we're sort of projecting our mundane conceptions upon that particular individual. So the point is, don't worry. Don't worry. It'll happen, and in the meantime, enjoy Krishna consciousness. Don't get drunk.
I'll try not to.
If you get married, it should be Ekapatni Vrata. Not like Ravan. So, and just enjoy this life and be Krishna conscious in this life and try your best to chant. And that's the main thing. The austerities, what is that statement? Oh, it's in the Bhagavatam. Ruganai tata pasana yati chejya nirva panagrahadva nachandanitsa naivat jalagni surya vana mahapada vajobhishekam. That austerities are not going to help you. Jadabharta says to King Rahugana, you're not going to be helped by executing austerities, putting yourself in fire in the middle of the summer, putting yourself in ice in the middle of the winter, nor just by being a good brahmachari, sannyasi, or grahasta. Only by taking the dust of the feet of the great devotees. I mean, that's the secret. So you don't worry about all these things. You just try your best to chant, try your best to serve the Vaishnavas. And Krishna says, Ananyas chintayando mam yejanak paripasate tesham nechivayuktamam yogakshem vahamyam. Then whatever lacking you have, I'll carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So now it is time for prasadam, for those glubjamans and whatever else they made tonight. Not for me. Not for me. You know, to me, it doesn't matter anymore. As long as what I put in gives me the energy to serve, then I'm happy. Oh, yeah, one question, another question.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the class. If I just wanted to rewind back to where you started with the Fiji topic and the evil eye. And you had mentioned, throughout the course that we're chanting to develop a taste, and that's going to please Krishna and build a relationship with Krishna.
Right.
But 2 points you mentioned earlier where it was like in this material world, we have relationships with parents and with family members and spouses. Yet in India, you were mentioning that they're deserved of certain respect because they're doing esteemable things.
That's right.
They're doing respectable things. But in this day and age, if a man should not hit a wife, but if she's hitting the husband, we're just supposed to say, okay, shoot me, thank you.
No, she's hit. No, you
or if the parents are like, just like leading you down a path of misery, you're like,
then that's not a parent anymore. That's not a wife.
Okay.
One has to deserve the title of parent or wife, not just in name only. Just like sometimes you have disciples, I do, in name only. But disciple means discipline. So someone to be a parent, they actually have to be loving to their child. If they're not loving, they lose that stature. They lose that position. Just like anything in the business field, like if you don't carry out your responsibilities, you get fired. So same thing, if the wife or husband, if they act abusively, then actually even Chanaka Pandit talks about that as aranya tena gantavya miyata aranya miyata graham. Then he says if your wife acts abusively, head for the forest. Well, he says take sannyas, but I'm not advocating that for everybody. Or if your husband, no, I mean, obviously they're not qualified. I mean, obviously you got to give someone a chance to come to the qualified platform. And we also have to be compassionate in this world and, suggest that someone has some counseling. But if something is irreconcilable, what can you do? These things happen. This is the nature of this world. It's terrible. Yeah. So one has to be worthy of the name mother or father. Good question. Good question. Heavy question. Okay, so thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class on the holy name. And as you indicated, we are just getting started. Maharaj is going to continue this topic next Sunday as well. So please, I request everybody to please be here and take full advantage of the nectarian words of wisdom from Maharaj. Let's give Maharaj a big round of applause and say Hari Bol. Thank you for Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So, just a one announcement before we head down for prasadam. So, we celebrate the birthday blessings. There is a birthday blessing seva, and here we actually celebrate the birthdays of those devotees, of the birthdays that falls in this week. And so, there are these devotees: Jagadish Plaplikattu, Shyamala Basavaraju, Ramakrishna Bharatam, Akshara Maheshwaram, Arya Medikayala, Renushri Palamkota, Shubhan Goru, and Haripad Prabhu. Hari Bol! Let us all chant the holy name for all these devotees and request Shri Radha Golokananda to bless them. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much. And we can now head downstairs for prasadam in the Prabhupada hall downstairs. Sorry? It's prasadam prayers.
Mahaprasade Govinde. Svalpa punyavatam rajan. Vishwaso nevajayate. Sharira vidyaja. Jarindriya kalika. देखे जीवे फैले विषय सागरे तारा मध्य जीवाहति लोभोमय सुदुर्मति ताके जिता कठिन संसारे कृष्णा बोरोदयमय कोरी भार जीव जाय स्वप्रसाद नदी लोभाय से ही अन्नामृत पाओ श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमे दाखो चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री श्री राधा गोलोकानंद भगवत महाप्रसाद की